All right, as we demonstrated in lesson 10.2, any parallelogram can be divided into two congruent, meaning the same, exactly the same, triangles. So our essential question of the day is, how can you find the area of a triangle in lesson 10.3 found on page 397? The area of each triangle is half the area of the parallelogram. So here we have a parallelogram. If we divide that parallelogram in half, both of these triangles are congruent and they are half the area of the whole parallelogram. So the area of the triangle is half the product of its base and its height, because the area of a parallelogram area formula is the base times the height. So the area of a triangle is half of that. That's all they're saying. And we write it like this: area equals 1/2 base times height, where B is the base and H is the height. All right, so let's jump into it. Oh, and here we have examples of a base and a height. As these two triangles were cut apart and spread apart, this is the base, this is the height. All right, Flatiron, the Flatiron building, hopefully I'm Flatiron, I don't know, building in New York is well known for its unusual shape. That is an unusually shaped building. The building was designed to fit the triangular plot of land formed by 22nd Street, Broadway, and 5th Avenue. The diagram follows the dimensions of the triangular foundation of the building. So the bottom of this building, let's move it up a little bit. The bottom of this building has a triangular shape. What's the area of the triangle? All right, so the base is 190 feet. So one side over here is 190 feet. The height between the two triangle points is 79 feet. Find the area of the triangle. Okay, so we start with area formula for a triangle, which is A equals 1/2 base times the height. All right, then we substitute 190 for the base. Let's move this. So 190 for the base and 79 for the height. Base, height. Okay. That's where those numbers came from. Now we multiply the base and the height, so we're going to have to do a little bit of margin work, and our teacher loves to see this, so don't erase it at the end. Keep it so your teacher can see what you're thinking. Okay, so 0, that's 81. Let's see, that's 9 plus 8 more is 17. Placeholder 0. 7 times 0 is 0. 7 times 9 is 63. Regroup the 6. 6 times 1 is, or I'm sorry, 7 times 1 is 7. Plus 6 more is what, 13? Making sure everything's lined up so that we do it correctly. And we end up with 1/2 times 15,010 feet. All right, so now we have to take that 15,010 feet and multiply it by 1/2, which means basically we're dividing it in half. So once again, some margin work. 150, 010. Whoops, I did that wrong. Sorry. Let me erase. It's 15,000, not 150,000. My bad, I'm sorry. Okay, so 15,010 divided by 2, well, that would be 7, 14, 5, 0, because we brought down the 1, and it doesn't go into that, but then we bring down the 0, and it's 5. All right, so we have 7,505 feet. So the area of the triangle is 7,505 feet. So all we're doing is finding the base times the height and then cut it in half. Just like a parallelogram in a triangle. Find the base and the height, cut it in half. Here we go. Next page, we have area equals, here's our area formula for a triangle. Here's our base, 4.5 feet. Here's our height, 3.5 feet. We're going to substitute 4.5 for the B, 3.5 for the H. All right, so we get 4.5, 3.5. Rewrite the mixed numbers as fractions. So remember, we do the multiply, then add. Multiply, then add. The denominators stay the same. All we're doing is finding a new numerator. Or not a new one, but we're turning it into a fraction greater than 1. All right, so 4 times 2 is 8, plus 1 more is 9. So that becomes the numerator over 2. 3 times 2 is 6, plus 1 more is 7. So that's our numerator over the 2. Now we multiply, and we end up with, so we can multiply all the way across in both cases. So 1 times 9 is 9, times 7 is what, 63. 2 times 2 times 2 is 8. So the area equals, well, this is not in simplest form. Simplest form goes back to being a mixed number. So we're gonna do a little margin work here. Let's see, 8 goes into 63 7 times, and that's 56. Oops, I'm sorry, minus, sorry. 5, 13, so 7. So this becomes our remainder, so the remainder becomes the new numerator. So that comes up here as a numerator. The divisor becomes the new denominator. So it is 7 7/8 feet squared. So the area of the triangle is 7 7/8, so almost 8 feet. That's pretty darn close to 8 feet because 7/8 is pretty close to 1. And 1 more than 7 would be 8. Okay, so we found that one. Let's move on to example 2. Daniela is decorating a triangular pennant for her wall. The area of the pennant is, we know the area is 225 inches squared. That means they're giving us this whole, the grass area, 225 inches squared. And the base measures 30 inches. What's the height? So we don't know the height. We want to find out how tall her pennant is from this point to this point. Okay, so we use area formula. So this time, instead of, we can substitute 30 in for the base, but we have nothing to substitute for the H. However, we do have the area. So we can substitute that in for the A. So 225 equals 1/2 times 30 times H. So 1/2 of 30 is 15. 1/2 times 30 is 15. All right, so now we have 225 equals 15H. we want to isolate this h because that's what we're trying to solve for, right? But we've got a 15 next to it. We need to get rid of this 15 next to the h. And the way that we do that is we divide by 15 to get it out of there. So this now becomes a 1. 15 divided by 15 is 1. But if we do it to this side of the equation, we also have to do it to this side of the equal sign. Remember those balance scales that we looked at the beginning of chapter 8? We have to keep equations in balance. So anything we do to this side, we have to do to that side. So we have to divide 15 into both sides. So this is now 1h. So h is by itself. 225 divided by 15. If I don't know that off the top of my head, I need to do a little margin work. And what is that? 12, 7. And 15 goes into 75. What, 5 times? Let's do it on the side over here. Make sure I'm right. That's 25, 2. Yep, 75. So 15 goes into 225 15 times. So 15 equals h. This solution goes right there, and that's what h is. So the height of the triangular pennant is 15 inches. All right, let's do another one before I show you the notes and then turn you loose. Let's do number 1 on the next page. Find the area of the triangle. Area equals 1/2 base times height. Our base is 14, our height is h. So 1/2 times 14 times 8. So the area equals, well, I would have done this differently, but I will show you the way that they want you to see it first. 14 times 8 is what, 32, 11, 112. So now we have to get half. So 14 times 8 right here, this is 112, but now I need to multiply by a half, which means divide by a half. And I end up with 5, 6, 56. Okay, so I'm going to show you a second way. If you're real solid with doing it this way, take a look at this real quick. I could have divided this 14 in half first, rather than multiplying 14 by 8, which gives us a great big number. I could have multiplied a half times 14 and ended up with 7 times 8, which equals 56. If I do it this way, I can do the whole thing in my head. I get the same answer. There's more than one way to get this answer, but this is the way that they've shown you. Multiply the base times the height, then multiply it in half. But if one of these numbers is an even number, you can start by cutting that even number in half and then multiplying. All right. Here, okay, so now they're giving us the area. So let's always start with the formula. Don't skip that part. So area equals 132 equals 1/2 times, our base is 22 times 22 times h. So once again, I'm just going to multiply that right now. So half of 22 is 11. So I have 132 equals 11h. Divide both sides by 11 to get that h by itself. 132 divided by 11. It's going to be a 1. 22 is going to be a 12. Okay, so the height is 12 inches. All right, let's take a look at our notes real quick. So there aren't a lot of notes for this one because it's pretty straightforward. You're just doing multiplication and division. So, so I just did a couple of examples for the notes. So this is your formula. Here's an example, and that's it for our notes today. All right, good luck.